From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Micah Halpern, sitting in for Teisha Bader, here with the JBS News Update for Monday, June 19th, 2017. Israel has developed a Waze for walkers. It's called Sidekicks, and it offers walking routes in hundreds of cities. Lovers of Israel, especially those who followed Israeli high-tech, celebrated when Google bought the app Waze for $1.3 billion in 2013. Waze uses a real interaction between traffic updates and users to help drivers avoid traffic jams, offering alternate routes when needed. Sidekicks hopes to do the same thing for walkers, but instead of always offering the most direct route, it offers routes based on interest. For example, if you're a foodie, the app can design a walk route that takes you past bakeries and bars. If you're more interested in cultural museums and galleries, it will be on your route. The app is interactive and includes recommendations from other users. The user can also add a stop at an ATM machine or a grocery store. A YouTube video explains the app and offers a humorous take. Sidekicks was designed by 3 Israelis. One was Jenny Druzin, a new immigrant from Brooklyn, and has been downloaded by hundreds of thousands of people. There is a version for both Apple and Android. Druzin moved to Israel from Brooklyn 4 years ago and became interested in the burgeoning high-tech scene there. She originally wanted to create an app that would show the safest route for walking, including which areas were well lit. In their first round of financing, Sidekicks raised more than $1 million from angel investors in both Israel and Australia. Since then, they've raised more money, although Sidekick does not want to divulge the details. The app currently works in cities across the UK, Europe, US, Far East, Australia, and Israel. ISIS is losing their strongholds in Iraq and Syria. Israel sees these ISIS losses as significant threats to their borders. ISIS fighters are being forced to flee and are relocating to areas closer and closer to Israel, like the Golan Heights. Israel is running cross-border exercises into Syria. As they run their exercises, Israel is gathering more information and active intel on ISIS and the several ISIS fighters that are now gathering in the southern part of the Golan Heights. This area is the nexus border between Jordan, Israel, and Syria. It's at the Yabok River, which is where the biblical patriarch Jacob wrestled with the angel. An elite unit of the Israeli Givati Brigade is in the Golan. The Givati unit is involved in the cross-border activity. Normally, Givati is headquartered in the south and specializes in the Gaza Strip. But they are also up there training in the Golan to help out in the event that they may be needed there. Also on ISIS, this time from Asia. Indonesia is the country with more Muslims than any other country in the world. Over 240 million Muslims live in Indonesia. The head of Indonesia's defense said that ISIS has sleeper cells in almost every single province. General Gatot Nurmantio gave a press conference in Jakarta, the Indonesian capital, explaining this realization. He said, after observation, we see that in almost every province there are already ISIS cells, but they are sleeper cells. Nurmantio also said that these sleeper cells can easily join up with other radical cells. Indonesia is joining forces with Malaysia and the Philippines to fight ISIS. They have come to the realization that they must stand up and root out ISIS. If they do not stop them, ISIS will continue to attack their home front. On Friday, an Israeli border policewoman was murdered by terrorists in Jerusalem outside the Damascus Gate. The BBC publicly issued a statement of regret, not apology, for the horrific headline that neglected to mention terror by Palestinians or murder of an Israeli border policewoman in East Jerusalem. The false headline read, 3 Palestinians killed after deadly stabbing in Jerusalem. The BBC responded to outrage and outcry from around the world, including a tweet from Donald Trump Jr. about how false the news was, by issuing the following statement. We accept that our original headline did not appropriately reflect the nature of the events and subsequently changed it. Whilst there was no intention to mislead our audiences, we regret any offense caused. The storyline is upside down. According to the BBC headline, the most important element in the story is that 3 Palestinians were killed. Missing is the fact that the 3 Palestinians were terrorists and they were killed in the midst of a terror attack perpetrated by them during which they murdered a young female Israeli soldier. Donald Trump Jr. tweeted, "You mean after they stabbed a female Israeli police officer to death, right?" This is as close to being misleading as possible. The BBC merely accepted the critique and regretted an offense. They did not deem it appropriate or necessary to issue an apology. Tomorrow, Marlee Maitland will visit Hebrew University. She will meet with students and faculty. She's coming as a part of a program organized around disabilities in the media. Maitland was the first deaf actor to earn an Academy Award for her role in Children of a Lesser God. And on Wednesday, Rudy Giuliani will be at the Israeli Stock Exchange. And now for a look at tonight's programming on JBS. At 7 o'clock, it's The Wisdom of Dr. Ruth Westheimer. At 7:30, clinical psychologist and author Dr. Leonard Felder talks about coping with difficult relatives. At 8, University of Michigan professor Judaic Studies Zvi Gittleman talks about competing narratives and the nationality and religion as they have been applied to different kinds of Jews in Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union, a program of Limud, FSU. At 9, following the Tony win of Oslo as Best Play, we are replaying our recent episode of The Chaim featuring Mark Golub's interview with Oslo's playwright J.T. Rogers. And at 10, Yossi Balin, who is portrayed in the play Oslo, speaks about his recollections of the Oslo Accords. And coming up right after this broadcast at 6:30, the program This Is Not My Allah sees a group of moderate Muslims speaking out against extremism. I'm Micah Halpern, and this is today's news update from JBS.